Karina, can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. Sorry, I've got too many tabs open. Hang on, and I'll go back to my.
Just as a reminder to everyone, once we get all of council on, there's 2 separate links. This one for this public meeting, which once this one ends, we will end this webinar, then we will start a new webinar for the Committee of the Whole.
Right.
Okay.
So Vanessa, can you see all of the attendees?
Marty, yes, I have 6 right now. Can you see them?
I can see them, yeah, but I'm assuming that you will be figuring out who's speaking to which.
Yeah, do
we
you
don't
know?
have.
No?
Do we have a quorum?
I don't think we have quorum yet, but Councillor Cody and Councillor maybe are in the building, so we'll get them to.
Oh. Uh-oh.
Hang on just a second, I'll go and get them online.
Marnie, it's unfortunate when they register, I don't know what they're registering to speak to.
I think that you're just going to have to unmute everybody, Vanessa, and ask who wants to speak to an application.
I'm assuming Tina Poldevart would like to speak with or listen to Linscott because she's down in that area, as opposed to Mr. Leader and the rest of them. We can just ask everybody and see what they say.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. It's on, because I'm on there. So,
Great. Okay.
yeah. But if you want to shut off,
Okay.
slide it.
No, that's fine.
Okay.
We're good. Thank you.
Vanessa, can you email the link for this meeting to Councillor Maybe again? He has the Committee of the Whole one readily available, but for some reason can't find the
Public meeting.
the one for the planning.
Are we on?
We are live. It says up in the left-hand corner, so you can't swear at me at this point.
Well, I was here on time because I certainly, that phone call that was made to get me here on time the last time, I've been hearing about it from management ever since. So
I love that from management.
I'm here on.
You've been relegated to the basement.
Well, I'm banned in the to the basement.
So we're just waiting for Councillor Maybe to log on with his link, and Deputy Mayor Lackey said he'd be a titch late himself, so we'll proceed without Deputy Mayor, but we'll just wait for Councillor Maybe to log in, and hopefully we'll get him online here shortly.
Vanessa, did you see the note in the chat? Mr. Leader would like to speak to Yardarm.
I did see that. Thank you.
If I might ask Vanessa to fire me the committee of the whole connection. I have this one, but I don't have a connection to committee of the whole. I was just checking my emails here.
I'll resend it. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, there you go.
Thanks.
Okay, we got him, okay. So hopefully the deputy mayor can join us here shortly. I'm just gonna pull up. Sorry, my public meeting agenda. Too many screens open all at once. Okay, so we're gonna call this meeting to order at 6:06 p.m. And I will ask for any declaration of interest and general nature thereof. If you have a conflict, please declare it now. Okay, seeing none, we'll move forward with the first agenda item on the public agenda for the planning meeting, Z-2020-002, Linscott, Madden, Kestner, Jordan-Bennett, Geomatics, 110 Yardarm Lane, portion of joining to 732 Reach Lane. Madam Planner, do you want to speak to this application before we take comments from the, actually, I need to say my thing. I apologize. So, because this is a public meeting for the purposes of planning, personal information collected at this public hearing is collected under the authority of the Planning Act and will be used to assist in making a decision on this matter. All names, addresses, opinions, and comments are collected and form part of the minutes which are available to the public. Questions regarding this collection should be forwarded to the Director of Planning, who is Marnie Venditti. The purpose of public meetings is to present planning applications in a public forum as required by the Planning Act. Following presentations by the applicant or staff, committee members will be afforded an opportunity to ask questions for clarification or for further information. The meeting will then be open to the public for comments and questions. When you speak, please provide your name and address for the recording in the minutes. All comments should be directed to myself, the chair of the meeting. The applicant will be provided an opportunity to address public questions once all members of the public have made their submissions. No decisions are made at public meetings concerning applications unless otherwise noted. The public meeting is held to gather public opinion. Public meeting reports are provided to inform the public of all relevant information. Information gathered is considered by planning staff in their review of said application. For the applications being presented tonight, a report and recommendation are being presented to council for the applications. Following a council decision, notice will be circulated in accordance with the Planning Act. If a person or public body should have the ability to appeal the decision of council to the local planning appeal tribunal, but the person or public body does not make oral submissions at a public meeting or make written submissions to the township before the bylaw is passed, the person or public body is not entitled to appeal the decision. And with that, I will ask the planner to address our first item on the agenda for discussion. Thank you. There you go. We can hear you now.
Okay, thank you. Through you, your worship. This is an application to rezone a property at 732 Reach Lane and 110 Yardarm Lane, or 732, I'm sorry, is not being rezoned, to rezone a portion of property from 110 Yardarm Lane. This is the result of an application for lot addition to sever 1.6 hectares of land to add to a half-acre-hectare parcel of property. The benefiting property is currently zoned shoreline residential, and the lands to be severed and added to the benefiting lot are zoned rural. So it's a technical application essentially so that the resulting lot isn't split zoned. The notice was circulated in accordance with the Planning Act, and there have been inquiries to the office, but no formal receipt of comments for or against the application, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Madam Planner. Do we have any questions? Councillor Maybe? We can unmute Ms. Councillor. Or maybe? Perfect, thank you.
Thank you, Worship, and through you. I was just wondering, Madam Planner, whether
they are planning on building on this additional property that's going to be added, because I think there is a cottage already on the existing lot. So is there going to be more building? Thank you.
Madam Planner, do you want to address that, or do we want to leave that for the applicant to address once we get them on the line? Oh, I think I've got a frozen Marnie Venditti. She hasn't moved, so I think she's frozen. Oh, there, she's coming back.
I'm back.
Okay, sorry, Madam Planner, did you hear Councillor
did,
Davies'
I'm
question
sorry.
in regards to whether this would? Okay, Councillor, maybe you want to ask a question again?
Thank you, Your Worship. Wondering if the property is going to have additional buildings built on it. Is that the purpose of it? The existing one, I thought, had a cottage on it, if I remember the information. So is there additional buildings going to be planned? Thank you.
There's no new construction, through Your Worship, there's no new construction proposed at this point. It's just a lot line readjustment at this time. But any new construction would have to meet the requirements of the zone.
Thank you very much, Ms. Venditti. Any further questions for the planner in regards to this application? Are there any questions from the public? Madam Clerk, was there anybody who identified themselves? Okay. If you could allow those people into the meeting to make their comments and just let me know who they are.
The first individual is Mr. Leader. I will allow him to come in.
Okay, so Mr. Leader. And there we go. We have Mr. Leader, and he's now unmuted. Go ahead, Mr. Leader.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name's Cyril Leader, and we own property near the subject or the applicant. We're at 536 Bowsprit Lane and 532 Bowsprit Lane. And the severed portion, the 1.6 hectare portion, just about touches our lot line. Not quite. And I'm today speaking in favor of this application. I have dealt with the Linscotts previously. We severed a piece in a similar fashion to add to our property at 536 Bowsprit. They were good people to deal with, and I feel that these types of severances, when you're taking this from this large parcel and giving it to the cottage owners, is a good use of the land. It goes into hands where people can use the land, and they can take better care of it. They're better curators for the property, and that's been our experience. I think we've taken pretty good care of the land that we received. And as I said, we know the Linscotts, and we know the people at 732 Reach Lane as well, and believe they'll be good curators for the property. I did send in a written note as well, so I think you mentioned that you did not receive a written note. So I'm wondering maybe it went awry through the technology, but I did respond online, and was in favor of the application. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you very much, Mr. Leader, for your valuable input. Are there any other speakers to this application, Madam Clerk?
My apologies. I believe Marie or Tina Poldevart would be, so I will allow Marie Poldevart over.
Okay. We can unmute her. There we go. Ms. Poldevart, would you like to speak to this application?
No, I have no comment. I was just curious of the process, that's all.
Lovely. Well, glad to have you here. Thank you. The other Ms. Poldevart, Tina, actually, I believe it's Ms. Leakey, if she would like to speak to this for or against. Tina?
Hello?
Hello, we can hear you.
Hi, guys. I just wanted to, same as well from the other side of the bay from my mom, I think, but I just wanted to listen in and see what was going on. I think the question, if we have any, is that it was associated with 110 Yardarm. And just looking at the vast amount of outlined in red, we're wondering why it's 110 Yardarm, which has nothing to do with any of the property. And I think that was the main question that the executive of Linden Estate had inquired about.
Madam Planner, do you have any answers to that?
I do, through your worship. That's the address that applies to the broader, larger piece of property, even though it's only a small portion that's being severed and added to the adjacent property at 732 Reach Lane. So it's just to do with the civic address of the broader holding.
So it's not speaking to the piece, it's speaking more to the mailing address of this particular application in the larger piece.
That's correct. Because it's the smaller piece that's being severed, that's being rezoned, we have to identify the original land holding, the larger parcel.
Fair enough. Any other questions, Tina? Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. I think that was the only one that executive had brought up, and we're curious of it. But absolutely, we are in favor of landowners owning more property to, as Mr. Leader had indicated, to curate the properties.
Wonderful. Okay. Any further questions? So there's a couple more participants on the line. You have one, Councillor Jameson? Or were you just waving at me? Okay. Do we know who the other attendees are, Madam Clerk, to just ensure that they...
Forgive me, Madam Mayor. I probably am not pronouncing this properly. Mr. Nagar?
Nagar?
I'm not sure if he's here to speak to this one or not, but I will allow him to talk and then...
Okay, we'll ask. Mr. Nagar, if we're saying that correctly, do you have anything to add to this discussion on this particular application?
No, I'm here with my wife, Louise. We're the owners of 732 Reach Lane, and really appreciate everybody taking the time to think about this. Like Mr. Leader and the last person mentioned, we will be good stewards of the land. We've been good stewards of that land for about a decade right now, and we love living there. So thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. It's nice to see so many people interested in this process and using the Zoom meeting. So that's excellent. Thank you very much for joining us. Any further questions from the council members in attendance? I believe we've covered all the attendees.
Sorry, Madam Mayor. No, I have one further. And I'm not sure again if I'm pronouncing this properly, but Hedy Soror. So I
believe she's sorry, we'll let her speak, but she's with the media.
Oh, yes, okay.
But we'll just ask, and just in case she could have an interest in the property. So there we go.
No,
Hedy, hi.
Hi, sorry. No, I just wanted to be able to see your faces as you're speaking. That's all.
Lovely. Thank you so much. Thanks for joining us. We'll be switching to a different link for the next meeting, just as an aside. Are there any further questions or comments on this particular application? Seeing none, we'll move forward to the next application. Sorry, wrong screen. Pardon me. So this is Z-2020-001 Scott Lawless, 831 and 847 Grippen Beach Lane. Madam Planner, can you give us a synopsis of the application?
Certainly, through your worship, this is another rezoning as the result of a lot addition. So there was a small portion of property to the north added to the existing lot. The existing lot is an undersized property that had a cottage on it. The cottage has recently been demolished. With the lot addition, the lot's getting larger, but it's still an undersized lot to accommodate development. So the zoning amendment is to rezone all of the property so that it's in a site-specific shoreline residential zone. The site-specific provisions will address the setbacks of the new proposed residence on the property. This has been reviewed by the Conservation Authority. There's no concerns with it. Staff are supportive of the zoning application. There's been no submissions from the public with respect to this application. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay, so far I have Councillor Gorell, then Councillor Maybe, who have questions. Go ahead, Councillor Gorell.
Thank you, and to you, Your Worship. Just looking at the site plan, I see demolition of sheds and so on, but I didn't see any septic system, and I also don't see any comments from the health unit, which made me curious. Any comments on that from the planning?
Madam Planner?
Yeah, through your worship, the application was circulated to the health unit. The health unit was involved in the pre-application review process for this, so they did initially review this with us. We haven't received comments from them on this application, but prior to any building permit being issued, they would have to obtain approval from the health unit for a septic, and they did previously comment there was adequate area on the property.
There was adequate?
There is adequate area on the property, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Councillor Maybe.
And thank you, Worship, and through you. Yes, I was also in question of a septic field being indicated on the property, as well as the well, but I do notice that at the very water's edge almost is an existing shore well, which will remain, but is it tested and potable water would be one of my questions.
Madam Planner, would you be able to address that question?
Through your worship, just that they would be required to ensure that there is potable water and that there's an adequate treatment system in place as part of the building permit review process and the health review permitting.
Any further questions in regards to this application before us tonight? Are there any other, I don't believe there's any other attendees that haven't already spoken. So unless we have any further comments or questions by any of the councillors or the deputy mayor, I guess we will move to adjournment. I don't believe there's anything else on our agenda. Just wanted to make sure. So we're at number 4, adjournment, and the motion's put forward by Councillor Fody and seconded by Councillor Maybe that the public meeting adjourn. All those in favor, please signify with your hand in the air. All those opposed, carried. Thank you very much, everyone. So we'll move to the next link. So please check your emails for the committee of the whole link. We'll start a new meeting here shortly for 6:30. Thank you.